Okay, so this one's similar to question number 4. What you're doing is you're looking for this 2x minus 3 and 2x minus 3. You're going to replace it with a variable other than 2x minus 3, or in other than x. So I'm going to choose b. So b is going to replace 2x minus 3. So I'm going to write 6 multiplied by, instead of this 2x minus 3, put a b, then the squared still stays as it is, plus b, so that's going to replace that whole thing, minus 15 equals 0. So the goal of this is just to make it easier to factor. Once you have that replaced, then what we're going to do is either use box method or fraction method or decomposition to break it up. So I'm going to write the first term in the first top box and then negative 15 in the bottom right corner. You're going to multiply the two numbers. You need to find two numbers that multiply to negative 90b squared and also add up to the middle, and our middle is right here. This is our middle, positive 1b. So I would say 10b would work and minus 9b would work for both. So if you add those numbers together, you get 1b. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write those numbers that I just found, 10b and negative 9b, in these two leftover boxes. What you're trying to do is you're trying to write out what numbers multiply to give you this inside area. So for example, if I want to know what this and this is versus this to this, because that's going to multiply to give me this area right here. So to get that area, two numbers that multiply to 6b squared will be 2b and 3b. Well, I have to put the 3b here because that's going to help me get the 9. And the 2b would have to be put here because that's the only numbers that would multiply to 10b. Now I'm going to switch to this number here. To get this, I'm going to have to multiply 2b, which is the top of that box, multiplied by the side of it, which will be 5. So I know that this is plus 5. And then I already have a 3b at the side of this box on the left side. Above it, that means that the top's going to have to be negative 3 to multiply to negative 9b. And then you can check that the positive 5 and the negative 3 multiply to negative 15, which it does. So these are your brackets right here. So you're going to rewrite it as 2b minus 3 and 3b plus 5. So once I have those, now what you're going to have to do is replace your b back in. You're going to have to take out b and put 2x minus 3 in its spot, because the goal is going to be to solve. So if you want to make your life easier, you could actually solve here first and then replace b with 2x minus 3. So I'm going to write b here is equal to, if you move the negative 3 over, it's going to become positive 3. And if you divide by the number in front of b, you get over 2. So that's how you solve for b. Here, same thing. You're going to have 3b is equal to negative 5, because you're moving this number over to the other side. And then you're dividing by 3 on both sides to get b is equal to negative 5 over 3. Now, we need to know what x is, not b. So remember, b we replaced with 2x, or b was replacing 2x minus 3. Well, we have to put 2x minus 3 back into b. So I know that 2x minus 3 is equal to 3 over 2, and 2x minus 3 is equal to negative 5 over 3. And now all you have to do is, with your calculator, you're going to have to solve for x. So I'm going to have to add 3 on both sides. So that's 2x equals 3 over 2 plus 3. And I can use my calculator to do this. So you can go 3 over 2 plus 3 in your calculator, press enter, and then you can press math enter, enter, and that'll change it to a fraction for you, 9 over 2. And then we're going to have to divide this side by 2 and divide this side by 2. So x is equal to 9 over 2 times, whenever we have division, we always multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm just doing this by hand. So that's 9 over 4 as my answer. Okay, so that's one answer. Now you have to do the exact same thing to this answer here. So I'm going to have to solve for x by first adding 3 to both sides. So that's negative 5 over 3 plus 3, because I'm just moving that guy over. In my calculator, negative 5 over 3 plus 3 equals 1.33, go math, enter, enter, 4 over 3. So I know that 2x equals 4 over 3, and then we're going to have to divide both sides by 2. And that's 4 over 3 multiplied by 1/2, which is 4 over 6. And that can simplify to 2 over 3. So those are my two solutions. These two guys are my solutions. So it's all about replacing something to make it easier, and then once you have the solution, put what you replaced back in so that you don't change the actual answers. Okay, so that's similar to number 4. Number 5, this one is just another made-up one with a similar kind of idea. So what you're doing is a projectile is being launched. They're giving you the quadratic equation, and they're telling you that they want to know something. They want to know maybe how high it is at a certain point, or how long it's happened after a certain point. So here I want to know, when will it be 20 meters off the ground? So what I'm doing is I'm replacing the height, h of t, is going to be replaced with 20. So that means 20 is equal to negative 4t squared plus 48t plus 3. So you're going to have to get always 0 on one of the sides by moving the 20 to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 20 on both sides, leaving us with 0 on one of the sides. And this is when you can put in your calculator. You can do it graphically, you can do quadratic equation, whatever you want to do. Okay, so if you wanted to do this graphically, you would have to put this into your calculator. So I'll just show you that. So this is the graphical method if you're curious, because that will help you for number 5. So in your calculator, go to y equals, clear whatever you have going on there. Negative 4x squared plus 48x minus 17. So you can put it into y1, y2, it doesn't matter, it's just the color change that will happen. Then you want to change the window, so I'm going to use the standard window. Graph it, we can see that there is one x-intercept there, but what we need to do is find the other one, and it seems like it's a little bit further, so let's go up to 20 for now and see if we can see the other x-intercept, which I can. So it's all about seeing the x-intercepts. So I'm going to go second trace number 2. I'm going to move my cursor until I'm on the left side of it, which in this case is below. Press enter. And go to the right bound of it, which is the right side of that x-intercept. Press enter until you get the 0, which is negative or positive 0.365. So that's one x-intercept. Then I would find the other one. Again, second trace, number 2. I would go to the left side of it, which would be, in this case, above the x-axis. I press enter, then the right bound would be below the x-axis, enter and enter again for you guys. So that would be 11.635. Now, if this was negative, you would not count it. So I would cross it off if it was negative, because you can't have negative time in this situation. But since they're both positive, I'm going to subtract these two numbers. So I'm going to take 11.635 and subtract 0.365. And the answer would be my final answer. So whatever, I would just have to put that this would be in, so the time it would take would be this many seconds. Okay, so once I subtract, I'd get my answer, and that would be it. And then for number 5, what you need to remember, or actually I think it's number 6. So for number 6, they're just telling you that a rectangular dimension, so let's say you had 2 and 3. They're saying that we're going to increase them by the same length. So that means, what if I increase this side by x and this side by x? They're asking us what's the area if the area of this original shape, which used to be 6 centimeters, may be increased by like 10 centimeters. So we would have 2 plus x times 3 plus x, because we're increasing each side length by the same value, and that would be equal to the original area plus the increase that they're giving us, which I'm making up as 10, but you're going to have a different number. And then all I would do is do FOIL. So I would go 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times x is 2x, 3 times x is 3x, x times x is x squared, so there's FOIL for you. And on the right side I have 16. Then I would put it in standard form equaling 0. So I would have x squared plus 5x plus 6, and I would subtract 16 to make 0 on the right side, because that's bringing that 16 over to the other side. And then once I have this point right here, this is where I would actually graph it. This is what they mean by graphical solution. So I would now graph it and find the x-intercepts, and then pick the one that makes sense. Only one of your answers will make sense when it comes to increasing the lengths by the same value. And then once you have that answer, they just want the dimensions, meaning what is your new length, what's your new width. For example, let's say I found my answer logically was like 5. That would mean that this side length would have been 8 centimeters, because 3 plus 5. And this would have been 7 centimeters. So those would be the dimensions if they were to ask. Hopefully that helps.